Hello, and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a podcast where we read about some Dungeons & Dragons and discuss how we might include it in our role-playing campaigns. With me, as always, is Hamilton. Hamilton,
Hello.
how are you? Hello.
I'm all right. Hello.
Hello.
I'm good. Mm-hmm. I've had a nice bank holiday weekend, painting floors. So
I saw, very exciting. I was like, oh, someone's having a productive weekend.
Yes, definitely.
No rest for the wicked, I think.
No, exactly. Literally, I am in agony from below my knee to above my hips because I've been on the floor and like my body's just not used to it. And now I'm in my 30s doing a physical activity that's uncomfortable for like a day. You're like wrecked for a week, basically. It's ridiculous. How about you?
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't do much over the bank holiday weekend. I just played lots of video games, did lots of reading, because we've got lots of stuff coming up. What video games? I played for the first time ever, Hamilton, the Stanley Parable.
Oh, what a great game.
Very good game. It's got Douglas Adams humour, it's all silly, and again, for those people who haven't played it, or like me, have lived under a rock, I'd go recommend it. It's like, they've got like the deluxe edition out now or whatever, but there's a part of it which talks about, look, we're just going to follow the line, and it's going to take us to the story, and he had this Stanley Parable adventure line, TM, which I fucking love, and then eventually goes, oh, this is just getting silly, just ignore it now.
Yeah, the narrator is so great.
So great. But now I want to include the Stanley Parable adventure line TM in one of my one-shots. Whenever someone casts like hidden paths or something like that, you're going to have something like that, and you're like, just ignore it.
It's so good. You played the original Half-Life?
I've played everything but the original. I know, sorry. Look, sorry, I'll tear up my geek card.
Stroking my eyebrows, if that makes any sense to people. That's like I'm trying to calm myself. Stroking eyebrows is definitely like a super calming technique, right?
Is it? I didn't know that. Enough about the lack of my nerdy and geekiness. Hamilton, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? Yeah, what is our quick topic of choice?
Our quick topic of choice is the fact that Wizards of the Coast did a 1-2 hit where they put out a UA of Hereos of Krynn. Was it just before Christmas or just after Christmas? I forget.
I know time seems like an illusion, but it definitely was very recently.
It was very recently, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was like a month and a half ago.
I can't remember.
Real lifetime.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah, we thought we were super quick. We thought, we're hip and happening.
Yeah, exactly. And then they go and give us the second punch with the left hook and tell us that they've revisited it and changed it all. So
suddenly all of our content is out of date.
So thanks Wizards of the Case.
Thanks Wizards.
But then we could argue they're like, well, we've just given you double content because you now get another go at it. So
yeah, it's very interesting because this is the first time I've heard of that they've given us UA of UA. And essentially, there's this whole thing of
UA of UA.
Yeah, UA of UA, essentially, Unearthed Arcana, essentially. Half the stuff, they've gone, great, we'll keep that for that Dragonlance book. And some of it, they've gone, oh, it's not working. So we're going to rewrite it.
We've seen a lot of changes when they go, oh, well, now here's the book. And then the book's got differences, like Rabbit Folk, Herringon, yeah, how do you say? Herringon, that's it, that's how you pronounce it. And they made some changes to like the way it hopped. And so I think that was when that sort of change is like, yes, you can do that one and done. But the changes they made here feel like quite a dynamic shift and some quite big mechanics changes. So therefore, it probably does need retesting.
Another play testing of it. And that's, you know what, it's, as I was reading on the little video that they put out, lots of people going, oh, look, Wizards do listen to us, which I thought was so bloody funny. I mean, to be fair, I think the previous UAs of stuff come out maybe like a couple of months before the book is actually out, whereas we've got Dragonlance, we've got a whole, presumably year, it's going to be 2023 coming out, so we've got a long time for it. First off, the thing that isn't in the Heroes of Krynn Revisited, which they made at least 6 minutes of the 13-minute video all about, was the lunar magic subclass. They were like, everyone loves this, so it's not in the Revisited because that's just going to go in. And you're like, that's great, because it works. It's quite interesting.
We liked it.
I think now the stuff with the high sorcery, mages of high sorcery, etc., they've just got a little bit of extra flavour and a bit more tweaking in this document, which I know we'll go into anyway.
The only thing I did want, we found confusing about lunar magic, just reminding me of the point though, was that we thought it was funny that you could change your lunar cycle that you you focused on, so that you could go half moon, full moon, and new moon.
Total eclipse.
Total eclipse.
That's a very UK reference. Sorry.
Very UK reference if you like Jaffa cakes, or just Google Jaffa cake advert total eclipse. But anyway, but we thought that it was funny that you could change it up, but that was the only thing we had to say about it. But other than that, we loved it. So yeah. So Fiona,
yes,
taking control of the situation.
Oh no, give it
me rambling. This is the trick, you ramble and then you also take control of the situation, so people forget you're the one that rambled. So Fiona, stop rambling and let's tell me what's changed. What's the key changes?
What the key changes? Well, let's start with the first one, and I think I'm in two minds about this one, but let's talk about kender. Let's talk about kender. So ultimately, the big sort of rewrite that kender have got, they've got a new sort of introduction, which includes about with the gods as well, which is quite good. But they've removed two of the key sort of elements from the playtest. So they've removed the brave ability and replaced it with fearless. And all that means is that they are now immune to being frightened rather than just getting advantage on the saving throw. Like, okay, that's quite cool.
I think that's actually quite cool, to be honest.
I think
that differentiates it from other halflings.
And then they've also got something called kender curiosity. So again, buying into that idea of they're curious people. They're going on adventures, falling into portals and stuff. And all that is like, you get proficiency with at least one of the following skills. Okay, fine. But then they've got rid of the kender ace ability. So that idea to pull things out.
I love that.
I love that as well. And I'm a bit shocked by it. I think maybe I wonder if, because we sort of joked a little bit about, maybe there's that whole sort of, they're a bit like light fingered, they're taking stuff, etc. Because you could roll on that table previously and get lots of money. So you'd be like, I'm paying for stuff. And then you leave without paying your tab or something like that. But I don't know, maybe they're trying to rewrite that sort of like people getting a bad rep, etc. So
I can see that. I think there was the chance for the kender ace to be used negatively, and I think that makes sense. But then also, I think they could have just rewritten it to be just a more cool, because it's such a cool idea. The idea of like luck, it was like a play on luck, because they're using it's like halfling traits. So like the fearless is a much more fun way than brave, because I think that's cool, particularly when you're going to be probably fighting dragons. Again, I don't know. You fight dragons in Dragonlance, right? I assume, right? With lances.
That must be it. That's all we know about it so far. So.
And lunar magic. But so I like the fact that you would be fearless, because that makes a lot of sense. And then because you're going to go up against things that are very intimidating, so that works. But then I think the aces was fun. But I do like the curiosity, because it's a bit more of a role play fun idea, and it again puts that twist more to. That's probably why they've put the more of the knowledge of the god in there, because the god of craft and creation, and therefore gives something particular.
I think that's what more people are bemoaning, sort of like the loss of the ace ability, but we do get, like you said, the fearlessness and the curiosity. So I think it's okay. It's just a bit
what you could do.
What could you do?
Have both in your own games.
Why not? Well, it's true. Like, again, I've spoken to people who have actually, because this is something that has been part of the kender from previous editions and stuff, that they did have like a whole table, and it could be maybe they pull out like an actual magic item and all that sort of thing. So you could definitely homebrew it as you want. It's just, I guess it's one of those things, well, if it's not in the book, it's not canon, and you're like, oh, boo. So what?
But we say all the time that you can do what you like. The books are just references.
So don't bother buying them. That's our review.
They're inspiration. They're the inspiration, but just add and subtract as they so wish, really.
All you need is in your own head. That's exactly. You don't need any of this. Anyway,
let's not ruin the whole thing.
Let's not ruin this. Don't stop lilistening. Hamilton, I'm gonna hand this back over to you now. So, what's new with the feats in this document?
What's new with the feats? Well,
what like generally, you don't have to go into too much detail because I'll help you on that part. But
well, so as we said, it doesn't focus on the sorcery as much. It does bring back the feats of the adepts, which do relate to it, but not the class itself.
Yep.
But what it does is it gives you, it sort of reorganizes the backgrounds, which is what they did have. So to reiterate, in the original one, they had backgrounds, which then came with feats that were part of a build, a sort of a progressive background, which is something that we've talked about in, what was it called? Strixhaven. There was similar things. In the Fizzbands, there was a similar thing where there were the dragon
like gifts, gifts,
dragon gifts, which you could use as feats, and they could stack. It's not in the same way as a background, but you could stack them up by basically going and killing loads of dragons, which is not a great story, but that was the point, is that you could gain benefits this way. So this one has this ability, so it reorganizes that, but it then brings in this time some additional feats from the player's handbook into it, and it gives you a level bonus feat, and it reorganizes those as you see them, and it's kind of freed it up. So whatever background you choose for your War of the Lance, which is something that we didn't hear about last time, did we?
No.
Character, you gain bonus feats as detailed below, and you can gain the bonus specified in that background, obviously, but it also says that it has the ones that are in that plus skilled, tough in the first level, and then in fourth level, alert, mobile, sentinel, and warcaster, which everyone loves.
Everyone loves warcaster. Yeah, these are all really good combat feats. Like sentinel is a really good one. Basically, if someone tries to leave your space, you can stop them from leaving your space and all that sort of thing. That's pretty good. Mobile, obviously you're moving quicker, etc. Alert means that you're just super bloody aware. Like it's everything that's going on.
Sentinel is great, actually. If you're a pally or fighter, any fighter class really, it is a great frontline sort of player.
The only thing I would want to clarify is that obviously you get it to that level 1, you can get any of those sort of feats, fine, and then you get to level 4, so that's after you've had the subclass pick. Fine, that's no worries, so you're specializing, but then usually at level 4 you have an ability modifier or a feat. So does that mean you can get two feats?
2 feats, yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure if that was the case.
What I think it's you gain another bonus feat of your choice from either the first level or the following list.
Interesting.
Now, my reasoning for why I think they've done this is in the first sentence, in the sense of whatever I can choose for your War of the Lance. It's the War of the Lance. So it is like the Strixhaven, where everyone gets magic because you're in a magic school. So it makes sense everyone has magic. I have a feeling, based on the fact that they said in D&D Direct, it's going to be miniatures game, which is about the what's it called again? I've forgotten what it's called. The D&D Direct miniatures game. Is it called Hereos of Krynn? Is it actually called the Hereos of Krynn?
I think so. Yes, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Is it the Dragonlance minis
game? And I think that this setting is our first, and I think the first in 5e, if the 100, apart from maybe the Descent into Verna's proper war game, like war setting campaign. This is your season 2 Critical Role war campaign, but I think frontline attack, and with that I think they're giving, if you look at, as we've just mentioned, alert, mobile, sentinel, warcaster, skill, tough are all very combat focused. Being in battle, I imagine that's what we're going to have. I imagine the campaign's going to have that sort of setting. So that's
no, I think you're completely right. Yeah, because it does talk about that whole thing that these are special characters who have experienced or gone through something, and that sort of flavours something. So it totally makes sense. I guess for me, I was just like, whoa, 2 feats at level 4. That possibility of doing that is amazing. But again, somebody might do like the ability score improvement as well. Because again, this is where I can't remember off the top of my head how many ability score improvements you get in. Because that means you just get one extra.
3, I forget this. Oh, geez, I'll have to just look at rogue class.
Let's Google.
Creating. We go. Quick build. You get it at 4th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 16th, and 19th in a rogue. So that is 5.
5. Then you could get. Then you get 6 with the double thing. Then.
So you get 7. You could have 7 feats. You could have 7 feats because you have 5 of your. If you did an ability score increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, there's 6. 1, 2. There's. Jeez, if you're a rogue, you get one at 4th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 16th, and 19th. So that's 6. You could have 8 feats
if you were playing like a rogue character.
If you played a rogue character for
War of the Lance, bonkers.
That is one heck of a scout, right? Do you know what I mean?
You are going to tool up, right? You're going to just...
Plus all the amazing stuff you get as a rogue anyway. Jesus Christ,
I mean, I think it's very cool. I don't know about yourself, Hamilton, when you make characters, I tend to go and use the feats and stuff. For me, this sort of idea of having it sort of baked in the sort of development of the characters and stuff. It feels very much video gamey, that you really get to customize and choose what you want with the characters. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing ability score improvements or anything like that, but it just feels like, okay, you can really get, you can get an extra attack, you can get...
Well, that's 8 out of 20, right? I mean, you get subclass things as well on top of that. But you think 8 out of 20 of your base class is actually given up to your own pick and choosing. That is a second class in my eyes, basically. That is multi-classing. And so you could really, but it's like tailoring to what your playstyle is. As someone who's, I'd say though, I've been someone who's rolled very poorly with my stats. That's
the thing, yes.
And
if you've got
I have
bad
been
stats,
forced into like, I had my paladin, my best stat was a 13 in charisma as a paladin, right? That was my best roll. And I just hit the 76 is what we chose as the number that you had to hit, just got it, because everything was middling.
Yeah,
I just had to take the first one. I needed ability score improvements because I just can't live. I can't live with my spell save being 11. Do you know what I mean?
Pretty poor.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you want to do only feats and no upgrades, it's you'd find magical items and stuff like that. But I agree, it is this is me going, if you've got even I suppose standard array, I don't know, because we could do a whole, and I would say possibly very boring episode talking about rolling versus standard array versus point buy
versus playing a game show
versus playing a game show, the Dragon Duel special. Oh dear. Just thought I'd go quickly through some of the changes, and I thought for maybe the last part of this episode we talk more about the Knights of Solamnia stuff, because that's where there's been the biggest changes. But just 100%. To quickly go through, so Divinely Favoured, that's just changed so that you can get 1 cantrip, 1 spell based on alignment still, and Augury. You get Augury now.
Can you remember what Augury is?
I can if I look it up very quickly. Augury, 2nd level spell. You receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the results of a specific course of action you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. The DM chooses from the following possible omens. So weal for good results, woe for bad results, weal and woe for good and bad results, or nothing for results that aren't particularly good or bad. So yeah, it's just basically a sensing of things essentially, but as a spell. So cool. And that's it. And that's it. Anyone that takes that feat can cast that spell, which is, it's a nice little flavoursome spell. Quite good. No problem with that. The Initiate of High Sorcery. So that is just now 1 cantrip from the wizard list and 2 from the new list. And this list is sort of named rather than 2 from the evocation school, 2 from this, etc. They've actually narrowed it down to it's either this or this, which is easy enough for me because I'm not having to look through what is school of this, which you can do easily on D&D Beyond, I know, but I'm just being whiny about it.
Also, warlocks are evil still.
Oh yeah, obviously they're evil. Yeah, that's the only, again, it's so stupid that they've still got that alignment, evil equals warlock spell list. But okay.
It's so funny.
And then looking at the adepts overall, so there's only been little tweaks here. So they've got rid of the alignment for the feats, so you don't have to have a non-good alignment to be of the black robes. You don't need to whatever alignment for the white robes. They've got a little bit of flavour, so they talk about the 3 moons of Krynn, which is nice.
Yes, they do.
They've changed a little bit in terms of the initial, so their initial ones, the insightful magic, the ambitious magic, and the protective magic. They just changed the schools ever so slightly. I guess it's trying to be more in tune with what the flavoursome is of that. The only one of real note, I would say, is the life channel from the Adept Black Robes. So instead of this ridiculously convoluted, use hit points, but then half that hit points, and then you roll them, and then the damage. It's now just add all the hit points that you're going to spend and roll that, rather than roll the half of what you're spending. Yeah,
no, I think that is much clearer. It was it was probably made more sense from a balancing point of view, but then who the fuck is going to be bothered?
But also, I feel a bit shit. Oh yeah, I'm going to spend 8 of my hit die. Wait, that means I can only roll 4 of them.
Yeah, no, that is just ridiculous because why. You wouldn't. That's the thing.
It's just
they are so precious, particularly if this is going to be what we're assuming to be a war-based thing. You're going to need you're going to need your hit dice because you're going to have short rests when you can and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And exactly. Also, as probably a sorcerer, or a warlock, possibly, you are probably going to be using you use those short rests.
You need
frequently.
them short rests. You need sleep. You need cat naps for days.
You don't need long rests. You just need short rests, basically.
Exactly that. Well, then finally, let's look at the Knights of Solamnia sort of feats and stuff. So I think we joked a little bit about it last time, going, when would you ever need a mount? When would you ever need these sort of things?
Well, when you're in war.
Well, you're in war, clearly. But also, what's been very interesting is that they've rewritten the Knight of the Crown, the Knight of the Rose, and the Knight of the Sword feats to include maneuvers, these sort of the fighter maneuvers, battle type sort of things, which at some point, as I was setting off recording, that we should do an episode on, because I have no clue really about battle maneuvers and stuff like that, which are, again, it's another way of just playing the game. Even though fighters are usually it's always said like they are the easiest ones to start with, but they're also the most customizable because you can do all sorts of things. Certainly with, I think it was Tasha's or one of the books recently, which said like, if you want to make a boxer, take these battle maneuvers. If you want to make an archer, take these battle maneuvers. So you can do so much with them. And
there used to be loads more in the older editions, which were, there was some good, there was some good ones. We talk about the Harmonium a little bit and other thing, but they used to have a guard class in that, which allowed as a monster, but it gave them tactical benefits if it was a captain and a lieutenant, like a standard one, that could work together to give bonuses to each other in defense and stuff like that. So you could have like martial abilities. It can get you could go even more complex if you so wished as well, which I think is kind of fun if you want to make that. I'm just going down this idea that they might be making this more tactical game, board game thing, that this is where that sort of comes into effect.
Yeah, I think so as well. So all three of them now have an ability score increase, including these Knight of the Sword, which I don't know if we clocked it last time.
No.
Instead of what it used to have, which is like proficiency in intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throws, that's now just an increase in one of those things, which I think is just a little bit fairer. We were sort of saying off podcast, it kind of makes sense, even though it's like, oh well. But yeah, each of them gets 2 maneuvers of stuff. So like the Knight of the Crown gets Distracting Strike or Goading Attack. The Knight of the Rose gets Commander Strike or Rally Maneuver. And then finally Sword gets Maneuvering Attack or Menacing Attack. And I appreciate they all maybe sound similar. I'm sure they're all very, very different, and they all add something different to it. So again, you could really specialize. Certainly, if you're building a fighter for War of the Lance, and you're getting stuff like, not even if you do get like Knight of the Sword, but then you're also going to get like Mobile or Tough, Sentinel, all that sort of thing. Yeah. Sentinel would be amazing on top of this as well. So the other thing as well is it talks about superiority dice. Again, we'll come to this probably in a later episode. This is what you use to roll to add to your maneuvers, essentially. Currently, they're all D6s, but then they become all D8s, and you get 2 more when you take one of these feats as well. It's a D8 at level 4 for like extra stuff. It's nothing to be sniffed at, really, because like I can't remember too much about like Bardic Inspiration. I don't know what level that goes up to D8s or anything like that. It's all usually a D6 really early on, and then eventually you go D8.
Well, I think the thing is as well, like I realised this when I was playing low-level D&D in a group, that you realise that spellcasters have it very easy because it's about saving throws. And when you've got low abilities and you're fighting low-level monsters, it's better to make the dice roll on their half to fail, not on you to succeed a hit. So mages and sorcerers always do better with numbers because you're putting the dice roll on the monster, which is also low-level, rather than putting the dice roll on you, which is low level. So when it comes to this, when your maneuvers is pushing you on saving throws onto players, you're giving that ability to martial classes. So I think that's what makes it kind of more powerful. And also, every single one of them is Battle Master. Again, it's war.
War. Yeah, everything's attacking, everything's sort of like, combat heavy, which is good. Finally, Hamilton, we have to talk about the backgrounds. So the Mage of High Sorcery, no changes there, great. Nope. But I'm sorry to report, Hamilton, I know we were very sad when we realised this, but they've removed the tool proficiency of a musical instrument from the Knights of Solamnia.
They have, and I think it's fucking disgusting. I'm so upset.
so upset.
They should have just kept, even if they wanted to give them 2 bloody languages. Music is a language. It's a language of life.
If music be the food of love, play on.
Exactly. Well, it is. Music is a direct representation of the universe. It's like, what? Stupid. I also like the flavour it gave to them because it is a very tiny, minuscule maneuver to make something very like this idea that they're always singing songs around the campfire. There is something about like musical training. I don't know. There's something just kind of like makes it unique about these knights that always have a musical instrument on them. And now it's gone.
I was just looking now if they were proficient in it, but they didn't have equipment, so they never had the musical instrument on them. They just were proficient in something.
I could play guitar if I had one.
If I had one. I am fluent in the accordion, but I decided to leave it at home.
Yeah, well, it's not quite, easy to carry. But, it's that kind of idea. I don't know, you need a bagpipe player if you're going to go into battle, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, what are they called? The
Lone Piper.
That's it, the Lone Piper. As you're about to go off to war, 1,000% you'd have that.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. I mean, it's a very quick sort of rustle through, like just checking these things out. But I think it's quite interesting.
I like that idea, like rustling paper.
Oh, look, they've changed something.
Is it just me, or am I imagining a little mole in a tux, in a little tweed coat, going?
Oh, they've got rid of tour proficiency.
They've got rid of the bloody musicians. They're going to tell Hamilton he'll be so pissed off.
Yeah, why does this mole sound like me? I don't know. If anything, it's cool that this is their sort of working progress, because maybe they've just got enough lead time to make the changes and stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact it's been a bit of a quick turnaround to be like, okay, it's not working. What could we change? And now we've got this out. And who knows, there may be yet another revisited one again. I think they could be
revisited,
like reloaded. Hereos of Krynn reloaded. I think the knight stuff now, it like makes sense to me, and I think you could fit it in a bit better.
I am sending them feedback on the bloody musical instrument, though.
Are you? See if you get any.
I've never done it before. It's the first time I'm going to send feedback.
Well, send them feedback on the kender ace ability as well, and they'll probably just send you a little email saying thank you for your contribution, and then you'll put on some sort of list.
I'm just going to get on the musical instrument list. That's it.
That's it. What have you got in the works? What projects are you up to? What's new with you? You know bloody clue.
I have no bloody clue these days.
What do you normally do?
What do I normally do? I normally do some stuff. I do some stuff on the Dragon's Jewels Twitch. We might be moved over by now. We're part of T4C. We're doing fun stuff. We've got another project that's coming out soon that would be fun. I've got some fun ideas for a Spelljammer that I'm going to tell Fiona all about later, but I can't tell now because I've got other things to do.
Yes,
I'm Morky Borging it up as I am wont.
Do you want to advertise your little thing?
Oh yeah,
then?
I made a class. You can get it on itch.io if you search the Tome Gorger. It's basically a weird wizard class. It's what I thought is, how do you make a wizard class for a Doom punk RPG, metal RPG. And I thought you make it so they actually consume books and gain powers, and so that's what they do. This weird huge mouth creature that you become can go around and just eat books and gain benefits, and that's what they do. The Tome Gorger. So yeah, you can find that on itch. So I'll do that, and I've got some more. I've got a couple more.
Merkborg ideas coming up.
I should say it properly. I'm Morky. It's Merkborg, isn't it? What are you doing? What? Who? Where? When?
Who? What? When? So I am Fiona. I run the What Am I Rolling podcast, which is a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. As always, it's going very well. We do a whole range of different systems, all the way from sometimes Dungeons and Dragons, but not often. We do solo RPGs. The Long Haul 1983 is finally
bloody
out.
Good. So, bloody good. What? Listen to it.
The reviews are coming in. I think people like it, so that's quite nice.
The reviews are coming in.
The reviews from my friends who I've paid to talk about it.
No, it's bloody... No, seriously, I'm not saying this because I know Fiona. Even if I didn't know Fiona, I'd be like, who is this person who's making a really cool thing?
Who is this person? And I want to collaborate with them on more things. So if you're into solo RPGs, check that out. We've done quite a few on there. We've got some fun ones on there as well. Hamilton's... Actually, you've not been on Where, have you?
No.
We've done... Oh, well, I've sort that out.
I've not mentioned it. I've just been sitting here going, Fiona's always constantly like, I'm just getting introduced. No. Never invited once, everyone at home. How bloody embarrassing. That's we've known each other for about a year now, Fiona.
Nearly a year, yeah. I know, we've done a whole season of DM's Book Club.
I'm going to tell you, people, this is really actually awkward.
You know what? I just assumed that you've already been on it. No.
Also, you just thought, he's so boring, I'd have forgotten.
I'm going to wrap up this episode very quickly.
The hole is dug.
Yeah, I'm just shifting on. Well, before I go to the center of the earth, you can also get an offer code if you type in DMBC into checkout at Third Space Gaming to get 10% off your first order. And who knows, maybe you're going to save it up for one of those war games next year, or I think you'd get it on the Radiant Citadel instead.
Yeah,
because
that is going to be awesome.
That is going to be fun. Well, I'm just going to shovel myself down into the hole of perpetual embarrassment. And until next time, folks, thank you so much for listening. We'll speak to you next time. See you on the flip side.
See you on the flip side. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Well, Hamilton. Hamilton? Well, Hamilton.
Yes.
Oh, now I've fucked it up now.
Fiona.
Great. Hello. We are meeting for the first time. I do not know this man.
Fiona.
Fiona.
Hello, Fiona.
Hello.